Whenever you're ready.
Oh my God.
Jessica! I've never been called a fox!
Dana.
That's a classy name for a Harry.
I like it classic.
Okay.
Do you?
Welcome to the Rants and Raves podcast.
Sure.
Out with the bad and in with the good, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Jessica!
Dana.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so happy. We haven't been together in so long.
I know.
I'm sure people know that, you know, we try and record in advance so that we don't get behind in case things come up or we have to travel. And both of us have been traveling.
We have.
So I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. It was really great to catch up. And again, we just
sat on my porch for 2.5 hours, did our own private show.
That's right.
And I love how when we're talking to, at some point, one of us will go, I'm not going to tell you everything because we're probably going to talk about it. And then we continue.
It's a guarantee.
How was your week?
It was great. I went back to the opera, which I wanted to take you to, but it was.
To go.
I know. It was the night before you were leaving town.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was delightful.
I have to go.
El Gato Montes.
The cat is a man. Is that what
it means? The wild cat of the mountains.
Oh.
It was played by Placido Domingo.
Oh my God, I've got to see him.
Okay, one of the three tenors. Like, I got to see a living legend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A living legend. Iconic. He's iconic.
He's amazing. And both of my parents loved the three tenors always. So I grew up listening to it. And I just can't believe that I got to finally see him live.
It's amazing.
Yes. You know what was cool? After the show, there's this lovely brasserie called Kendall's below the LA Opera.
Is that how you say that word? Dairy Queen's brasserie?
Yes. It's so nice. It's called Kendall's. If you ever go to the Music Center in Los Angeles, that's where like the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion is, the Amundsen, the Mark Taper. And afterwards we went to Kendall's and it was like buzzing with people who'd come out of the opera. But then the whole cast, not Placido, but everyone else but him came down there to eat and drink with their friends and family.
Oh my God.
So I kind of nerded out. I was like, oh my God, there's Raphael.
Yes.
The guy who played the bullfighter in the story. Oh, he was very commanding. We could not take our eyes off him.
Oh.
I was trying not to be a creep and stare, but I was kind of staring.
Yeah. Did you whisper, you are very commanding?
I said, Bethos.
What does that mean?
Kisses.
Oh.
I said nothing. I just picked at a cheese plate and stared at him for a good hour.
That's awesome.
How was your week, VisionCon?
It was so amazing. So for those of you that don't know, I was invited to be a guest at a thing called VisionCon last weekend, which took place in my hometown, but it is much like a Comic-Con sci-fi conference sort of thing, but it is comic and pop culture this year. They decided to expand, and so they invited me as a hometown girl to come be a part of it. And I expressed to you several times that I was very nervous. I was like, these people do not care about me. They're not going to know who I am. It's
not
so
true.
dumb. A lot of them definitely did not know who I was. However, it was a life-changing experience, Jessica.
It's amazing.
It was so lovely to be in my hometown and be surrounded by my family. My best friend drove in from Oklahoma to be basically my manager the entire time.
I love that. I saw her in pictures with you and I loved that you got to be together.
Everywhere. And I'd be mid-sentence and she would shove, like if I took a breath, she would shove a protein bar in my mouth. Or she would hand me a bottle of water and I'd take a sip and she'd go, no, one more. Like just silently while I was midst conversation with people. It was just so nice to be taken care of.
I love it.
It was so good. I couldn't have made it through the weekend without her and my family. My dad basically became like the mayor of our little aisle there.
Of course.
The thing that was the most powerful, so basically my hometown, they have this VisionCon every year and it's a nonprofit organization. And so there are cosplayers, there are artist booths, there are merchandise. I mean, it's incredible. There was even one booth set up where these guys were just like handing out energy drinks. It was just crazy. But they had all kinds of events and things, but all of the proceeds went to benefit the Kitchen, which is an organization in my hometown. They help feed the homeless.
Love it.
And so it was all for a very good cause. And I did a Q&A panel. I can't even get through all of the stories or we would have a 6-hour episode. But the thing that was life-changing for me was I think that doing what we do and being in Hollywood, we get this idea of who we are and what we're doing and what it means.
Yeah.
And we get sort of start wallowing in the muck and mire of like, oh my God, Modern Family's ending. Am I ever going to work again? All these things. I'm not cool enough. I'm not at the right party. I'm not meeting the right people, all that stuff. And I realized over the weekend how much none of that matters to me because I think I'm just a fool on TV, getting paid. It's just a job. I'm supporting my family. I'm lucky that I love it. Yeah. But it's not all glamour all the time.
Right.
But the things that people said to me this weekend about I was going through a hard time and I was binging Modern Family and I saw you and just related to you and you made me laugh, or sharing personal life stories. I cried a million times, Jessica, and it wasn't like sad tears. It was joyous tears and humbling tears. And sorry, I'm getting very, very handsy with my expression. And actually one of my raves comes from someone I met this weekend. I met another man named Tim, who was a booth mate near me, a booth neighbor. He gave my dad, he said, I was speaking with that man over at your booth. Was he in the military? And I said, my dad? Yeah, he was. And he had taken a picture with my dad because my dad was wearing his Sons of Arthritis t-shirt. So he wanted a picture with my dad, which I thought was so cute. And I said, yeah, he was in Vietnam. And he said, does he talk about it much? And I said, not really. He said, I thought so, because when I was speaking to him about my military experience, he seemed to really get it. And he said, I meet a lot of Vietnam veterans that had a real hard time when they came home. And without spilling my dad's private stuff, it was difficult for him. And he goes, that's it. I have something for your dad. Call him over here. And I had to be at my panel in like 5 minutes, right? My Q&A. So he brings my dad over. He pulls out this he's an amazing artist. He retired from the military and is now a consulting artist for Disney, trademarked.
Unbelievable.
Because he's just so talented. And so he goes to all these cons and stuff. And he had brought me over and said, when I meet someone I really connect with, I like to send a piece of art home with them to commemorate us meeting. And they have a piece of me, which I thought was amazing. But then he started talking about my dad and he goes, bring him over here. I got something for him. He pulls out this enormous, hand-drawn, beautiful sketch of a soldier and the flag. And then he hand signs it. Thank you so much for everything you did for our country. You are not forgotten and you are my brother. It's going to make me cry again. And I was like, please don't make me cry. I have to go over to it. And my dad was really overwhelmed. And he shook my dad's hand and patted him on the shoulder and said, you're my brother. Thank you. I just love it. It was incredible. At one point I stepped out of my booth because someone for some reason wanted to take a picture with me and paid for it. It's crazy.
It's so fun.
And I turned around and looked at my booth and it's a table set up with all your pictures and my reel was playing on the side because I was like, nobody knows who I am. I have to show them that I've done things, and we had candy for the kids and stuff. And so I turned around and looked at my booth and I could not fit back into it because my best friend was there. My 2 sisters were there. My dad was there. My sister's boyfriend was there. My 2 nephews were there. An Armenian wolfhound and his handler was there. Marty McFly was there. Nick Fury was there. And 2 Sailor Moon cosplayers were there. And my heart was just pumping joy.
I bet.
It just made me so happy. And I'll tell you, the real life stories I heard from some of these people, I'm just so lucky.
Yeah.
People go through so much. And that they were coming up to me. People brought me thank you cards for talking to them, Jessica. Just for speaking to them. They were like, I can't believe you're so nice. And I was like, what are you talking about? I owe you. You shared a life experience with me. I'm just a dum-dum that makes cross eyes on TV. People brought me gifts. They gave my family gifts. I mean, it was incredible. It was
so lovely. You had real human connections and moments with people.
I really did. And I think because of what we do, it's so disconnected from real people. You just see it on TV. You don't see other people see it. Most of the time, I don't even watch myself. So you have no idea what people are thinking.
Exactly.
Because really, the only people who are ever vocal in a way that I see it are mean people, to be honest. Yeah. Unfortunately, mean people are the first ones to comment on anything. And it always will find its way to you.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try to avoid all of it.
Sure.
Someone will tag you in something. You'll click on it. And the first thing you see is, she don't eat salads. She's huge. Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing that happened, And so you don't really get to know, I don't know, how fucking lucky am I that I get to do something I enjoy so much.
Yes.
And actually helps people be happy.
Well, and them not realizing that them being vulnerable and sharing something with you or saying how you have influenced them or had an impact on them in any way, that is huge. It's just huge for people to share that with you. They don't realize what a positive experience that is for you. It's positive for them. They're meeting someone they look up to. You're a straight up hometown hero. I'm not kidding. Like, especially if people are from a smaller town and you go away to do anything, it doesn't just have to be obviously an entertainment.
Yeah.
If you became a scientist or you were in the Peace Corps, whatever,
right.
You come home and it's like, oh my God, it's a big, big, big deal.
Well, and people would say things like, this is how I know it was so genuine. For example, a woman that my very first job ever was at Montgomery Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with a woman there and we really connected. And she would say things to me all the time like, Dana, don't you give up. Keep pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in retail, blah, blah, blah. And we've remained just funnily in contact on social media, like laughing at each other's posts and things, but we're not close. Right. But I care for her deeply. She came and brought her whole family and she walked up to my table. I didn't know she was coming and I go, oh, Missy! And she burst into tears. Aww. And I was like, oh no, what's wrong? And she goes, I'm just so proud of you.
It's so beautiful.
And then she went to my panel where I spoke and I thought there would be no one there because these are comic book people and sci-fi people. But I had a good 20, 30 people there and they were so into it. They asked so many amazing questions. Aww. She was on the front row with her hands at her cheeks, tears streaming down with the biggest smile on her face. And it made me happy because then right next to her was my dad and he looked so proud and my sisters and they were rolling their eyes and laughing at me, which that's what I love.
Of course.
It just was literally life-changing and I met some very special people that I will never forget. They have no idea how much they impacted me.
Right.
And it was incredible.
I love that you had that experience.
I do too. It was really shocking. I really didn't expect it.
It's so nice.
And there were even like stupid, weird, silly things. We went to a MOJO tasting where these guys...
What is MOJO?
It's insanity. These guys, they are knighted and they have friars and basically they mix alcoholic beverages.
Oh.
Like jungle juice type stuff from college, right? They do a live mixing. They have all these... So they do a tasting the first night of the con and it's invite only.
Amazing.
And they play music and they throw prizes out. And then you think, okay, well, these are teeny tiny little ketchup cups of drink. But then you have 18 of them. And it's
all
crazy.
bets are off.
It's insane. It was my worlds colliding in a way that I just didn't expect.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that I just spent 45 minutes telling you about. And I could go on and on. The experiences I had were just incredible. I came out of the elevator at one point. I was rushing over to record the mystery hour. And I had to get into hair and makeup and I had to change clothes. And I was in heels. So I put on my best friend's Converse tennis shoes and I ended up just wearing them on the show.
Perfect.
Like I had this fancy dress and a velvet jacket with cons on, you know.
I love it.
But we came out of the elevator and this girl looked at me and I heard her breath catch. She went, oh my God. And she just stared at me for half a second. We were all frozen and she goes, I'm doing a scavenger hunt and I need a picture with a local celebrity. Can I have a picture with you?
Aww.
And I was like, yep, sure can. Beth, grab the camera. I said, all right, here we go. Smile. Great. Hope you win. And we were off and running. Like it was just constant like that.
Cute.
It was fun. And it wasn't about, I don't want anybody to mistake, like it wasn't ego stroke. It wasn't kudos.
No.
The most impactful thing was seeing my family enjoy themselves and all of these beautiful souls that for some reason thought I was special enough. Like my best friend said, Dana, do you realize everyone that's come to your booth, they've come back every day.
Yeah.
Just to say hi.
Because you had a human moment with them, an actual connection that was genuine.
Yeah, it really was.
Not signing a headshot and pushing it aside and not caring. Like
not at all.
It's very cool.
The human
on
stories.
both sides, for you and for them.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
I know it was for me. Yeah. And to see my dad just he doesn't know anything, like he's not really into comic books or anything, not like these people are, you know. And I had guys from the line, there was a very famous sci-fi person next to me, so her line was just constant, right? Sure. And I would have people come up to me and go, I've never seen anything you've been in. I'm honestly not quite sure who you are, but you seemed very friendly and fun, so I wanted to come over and meet you. And I was like, awesome, let's talk.
Yes.
You know, it was just amazing. It was cool.
So cool.
Yeah, so that was I could go on and on. Con, but I won't.
Well, look up Vision Con and anyone that's in the area.
I know they're going to do it next year, and they said they would like to invite me again.
I think that would be fantastic.
I would love it.
It's also cool that they're doing things out, like people who do know of Comic-Con, even if you don't, now it's become a pop culture thing. Like people come from around the world to San Diego for the Comic-Con.
Yes.
But I see like my friends going to Dragon Con in Atlanta and stuff like that.
Crime cons. Yeah. I mean, there's a con for everything. And I'm telling you what, this was a small town thing, but they had like 4,000 to 5,000 people come through the doors all weekend. And the artists that had booths
the art that's sold is incredible at those kind of things. All the merchandise. Yeah.
As far like drawn art, painted art, and then photography, but also like here's how they did workshops on here's how to make a shield and it looks real.
Right.
Like things like that.
Oh boy, I think our husbands would like to go to that.
Oh my gosh, Dan Tipton would have loved it. There was a cosplayer there that does Daryl from The Walking Dead, and Dan had said before I went, don't get too close. And it was so funny because I say my dad was whoring me out to everyone because he was like, Dana, them cosplayers up there were telling me that they're not getting many people up at their booth. I think people don't know where they are. I was thinking maybe if you could make one of them videos with them, let people know what floor they're on, they might get some more people up there. So
cute.
I was like, yes, Dad. Because I'm never going to say no to my dad. So anytime anybody wanted something from me, they'd just go to my dad first. But I did a little video with him, and he had another person in his cosplay group that was dressed as a zombie. So we did these little videos where I was like, my husband said I can't flirt with you. And then a zombie killed me. Like, it was really fun. It was just so stupid fun.
I love it.
Joy, 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 joy.
That's what we want, right?
I think that's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so glad to be sitting here with you.
Me too.
I guess we should go ahead and just jump right in. I would like to let people know how they can contact us and thank us for speaking to them. No, I'm just kidding. We want you guys to write in with all of your rants, things that bug you, all of your raves, hometown heroes, charity organizations, good news stories, whatever you want to hear that you think is going to put some goodness into the world. We're going to help you spread it. Yeah. So you can contact us on Instagram and Facebook at the Rants and Raves Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at raves_the. Our website is the rantsandravespodcast.com. There's a contact button there if you'd like to contact us that way. Or you can straight up legit email us at the rantsandravespodcast@gmail.com. Please rate, review, subscribe. We really want to grow, you guys. Yes. So tell a few people you hate. Tell a few people you love. Ask your parents to listen because I can't ask mine. We just want to continue growing, and you guys are really kind of the only way we can do that. So we would appreciate any 5-star reviews you would like to give. But we do encourage feedback. We do have a corrections corner coming up, so look forward to that. Should we go ahead and jump into our rants?
Let's do it.
Okay, you're first today, Jess.
Okay.
And I'm excited to hear what you're, because you kind of told me what it was about, but I need detail.
Hilarious. This is a rant that comes to us from a listener who is a manager at a national grocery chain. Hello, ladies.
Wait, we don't get to guess? Ralph's.
Did you say Louse?
No, Ralph's.
Oh.
Piggly Wiggly.
I thought you said Laos as in the country. I'm like, what? They did not state the grocery store.
For their safety, they shouldn't, but I'm still going to guess. Trader Joe's. Dylan's.
Dylan's.
Does that exist anymore?
I don't know.
Consumers. Price Cutter. I can go on.
Food Lion. Jitney Jungle. Sunflower.
Stop it. What's Jitney Jungle?
It's from Mississippi.
What's it mean?
I don't know, but you can bring your deer that you just got while hunting and bring it to the back of Jitney Jungle, and the butcher will take it in and process it for you. The next day you can show up and get your venison steaks and summer sausage.
I don't like deer meat.
Put it in the deep freeze. You've got meat for a year.
No, it makes me gag, and it also leaves a film in my mouth. And also, you didn't go out and get that deer. You went out and murdered that deer so that you could bring it to Jitney's and have it, what do they call that? Dressed.
Processed.
Yes. And dressed.
It's very lean and it's very good. And one of my friends, she is a listener. She is from Mississippi. She grew up hunting deer. They always obviously use the meat from the deer. And every year for the woman who was so amazing that was with 4 generations of her family, she was family to them. This woman worked for 4 generations of her family. So every year my girlfriend would, when she got a deer, when she was hunting, have it processed for this woman. And legit, it's the meat she ate for the entire year.
Oh, wow.
people in areas that have a lot of hunting and things in the area have a deep freeze.
Yeah.
Because they're making the most, and it's so much. Her brother sometimes would get deer and then they donate it to a local shelter.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's actually very...
It's not for me, but I do understand there's population control and consumption of the goods and blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, I interrupted
it's no different. We eat cows, but let me tell you something. You think twice when you go to the gentle barn and you hug a cow.
I know. We've talked about this. I have real meat guilt.
Yes. Hello, ladies. I have a rant that really gets me going. I'm a manager at a grocery store in LA and deal with a cornucopia of personalities and problems on a daily basis.
Whole Foods.
Customer service is part of interacting with customers, and it can be fun until they make returns. It's part of the business. Someone buys lettuce or milk, but it's turned before the best buy date, or the kids didn't like a quinoa chocolate cake, or whatever. The dinner guests had allergies. I could go on. All normal, legitimate cases. What is unfortunately not normal is when someone returns produce, dairy, or anything perishable because they say they bought too much. Now we are bound by law and conscience to destroy these items because we don't know how long they've been unrefrigerated, left in a hot car, sneezed on, anything. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. What brings me to a apoplectic state is when someone has bought too much meat, chicken, or fish. Of course, those items have to be destroyed. Why should a company bear the cost of you not learning to buy a proper amount of food? Worse so, do they realize that an animal gave its life so you could live? What gives people the right to think it's okay to not only waste food, but an entire animal just because they made a mistake? Here's an idea. Freeze the meat for another day. Give it to a friend or cook it and save it for later.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't come back to the store and demand you be refunded for your stupidity.
Yes.
Eat the $10 for the steak and eat the steak. I think people need to sit back and realize that just because we live in a culture where companies fear the loss of customers, so we pretty much do anything to make them happy, we must take responsibility for our own actions. So yeah, I mean, that does bring up an interesting point. We were talking about this earlier about restaurants having food left over.
There's some sort of law. I had a family member that worked for Starbucks, and at the end of the day, they have tons of food left over. And by law, because of liability and things, they're not allowed to give it to the homeless or anything like that. So it's really a shame. I do believe I heard recently, I haven't done my research, so this is, correct me if I'm wrong, or find the information and be like, Dana, I did your research for you, so here, read it. I think they're trying to fix that. I think Starbucks is trying to find some sort of relationship legally that they can work to help feed people the food that they are otherwise really, truly just throwing in a garbage bin.
Yes.
And it's awful.
It is. You know, I understand too the point about things that are, you can't return. It's not like a box of mac and cheese, right? Where you see it sealed and
but
whatever.
Perishables.
Because I've wondered that before. What does the store do if somebody's returning a turkey? I'm like, how do they know? And that's exactly why they have to get rid of it. Because a lot of stores have a thing where when they're pulling stuff as they're getting restocked, whatever's near to the sell-by date, they pull that and then they do donate it to local charities.
Or they'll put it on a rack. Usually most grocery stores have a rack at the back of the store that it's almost the sell-by date, and they'll mark it down 75%. Yeah. Also, can I just be a bitch for a second?
Yes.
I have it's never once crossed my mind to go back to the store and be like, I'm sorry, you guys ain't bought too much food. My bad, give me my money back.
I know.
Who has the balls?
Ever.
That's your bad, man. You don't get your money back. Are you kidding me?
But if you've never, have you ever worked in retail of any kind?
Yeah, I'll tell you about a return in a minute.
Then you've experienced it. Like, you cannot believe what people have the balls to bring back. It's embarrassing. Well, the most famous story of all, the way that this policy kind of got this way, like the customer's always right, and except most big box retailers will take back anything because they don't want the aggravation with an angry customer or whatever. But Nordstrom, this was a good 30 or more years ago, a man came in to return his car tires. Now, Nordstrom has never and never did sell any auto parts. The man demanded The man insisted, and they returned his tires.
To who?
They gave him money for that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
They bought used tires off of a man.
It's so cuckoo.
That's cuckoo.
Most companies just are like, okay, we don't want the aggravation.
Yeah, and then people take advantage of that.
Yes.
Oddly enough, my story comes from Montgomery Ward, which I just spoke about earlier. So I worked in the lingerie department of Montgomery Ward. And one day a woman walked in with her Montgomery Ward bag, and she said, I want to return this. And I opened the bag, and it was very used lingerie. Thong panties. That were in shreds. I'll tell you what my manager said in a minute.
Oh my God.
And a bra that was stained and very worn. We'll call it dark pits. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I said, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to call my manager, because people would also try and return things from the 70s.
Right.
And it legit had the 70s sewn in tag that said Montgomery Ward. And
Oh
they're
my
like,
God.
I just bought it. You know, no, you just bought it in 1971. And it is now 1997. We have a problem.
Okay.
But so I called my manager over, and she was not having it. She was the manager, and she didn't care what anybody thought of her, you know, which I loved. Her name was Gail.
Oh my God.
She comes over, she opens the bag with one finger, and she goes, what is this? And the woman goes, this fell apart. I want to return it. And she goes, after how long? And she goes, I only wore it once. And she goes, well, I would imagine, is that when someone pulled it off of you? Because it's clearly been ripped off of a body.
Oh my God.
She pulls out a tiny, we had different size bags.
No.
Remember when we used to use plastic bags? To our heart's content.
Okay.
She pulls out a small size plastic bag for like jewelry or whatever, puts it over her hand like a protective glove.
Yes.
Reaches into the bag, pulls up the shredded underwear, which are now one long line of material. And she goes, this was pulled off of you by someone. This didn't fall apart. Drops it from midair back into the bag and goes, no, I can't take this back. There's stains on it. I don't know.
I can't.
I don't know what activities you were doing while you were wearing this, but it's unacceptable for me to return this and give you your money back.
Oh my God.
And I was standing back with my eyes on the ground, but just going, yes, give it to her. Yes. Her man came on that bra.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding.
Well, I got written up when I worked at Anthropology. I was a manager there, and a woman came in to make a return and pulled out a bath mat. You know, we sold all kinds of, even the bath mats were pretty there, right?
Yeah.
She pulls out a bath mat and puts it on the counter. She didn't even do that. I actually, I think, pulled it out of the bag. That was part of my dismay. She puts the bag down. She's there to make a return. I pull it out. It is a bath mat, and it is covered with dog piss and shit.
No.
Yes. And I literally threw it.
Of course you did.
Threw it. It probably hit her, but I flung it to where it went off the counter.
Yes. Away from your face.
I said, absolutely not. And she had her dog with her, just to add insult to injury. And this is a woman that used to come in with her big basset hound, and that dog would pee in the middle of the store, and she would do nothing about it.
No.
Yes.
That's a bad pet owner.
But because
what was her reason?
She didn't like it or something like that.
No, she's like, I want to return this bath mat. You know what it does? It makes my dog poop and pee.
Okay.
So I can't have it.
But I freaked out because I was
You're not expecting
livid.
that?
That is not okay. You can choose to wash it yourself or throw it out.
Away.
You just brought something that an animal defecated on in a bag.
No.
And I reached in to get the surprise.
No.
I was so angry, and I got written up, and I remember the manager
You got written up for throwing poop at the dog?
For not accepting the return.
Oh, yeah, no. Write me up all day long.
And they said, I don't know why you care. It's not your money. We just don't want to argue with people. Just return it. And I was so livid. I'm like, I get it on the grand scheme of things. So I'm like, because this woman acts like a diva when she comes in here with her gross dog.
She gets to get away with it because you don't have the time.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I really was impressed with my manager. I mean, she stood by my side. I was not as vocal. I didn't drop those underwear from midair in front of the woman. And I definitely didn't tell her somebody ripped those off of you.
No.
But I was so excited that my manager really stood up for me.
No, that's unreal.
I know, it was amazing.
unreal.
We also one time, I'll just do this real quick. I've told this story I think before, but we had when I went into my first promotion was into women's wear out of lingerie, and the dressing rooms are a real thing. Anyone that has to work in a dressing room, I really have pure empathy for you because I've talked about at Christmas time the old ladies didn't want to wait in long lines for the bathroom, and they bring sandwich baggies and they will pee and poo poo in the sandwich baggies. And then wipe with Kleenex that they've brought and zip it up in the sandwich baggie and leave it in the dressing room.
I'm sorry.
Multiple times
There's
this happened.
So much happening right now.
This is true.
Are you trying to tell me that like elderly women are managing to aim and successfully get it into a Ziploc bag?
Yeah, that was their thing. Like the young people would take off their clothes and leave their dirty clothes and wear new clothes out. The older people would pee and poo in sandwich baggies.
Nope.
So one day I was working the dressing room and it was a massive like holiday sale or something. And I went into a dressing room and there was a pile of clothes and I was like, great, somebody changed out of their clothes and wore new clothes out, and they stunk really, really bad. Like some rancid meat and a very strong cheese.
Oh dear God.
And so I got a bag and I put the clothes in the bag and I threw it in the trash, and I was like, you guys would not believe, we need to get out we had a bottle of Lysol, and the older woman I worked with would go in and Lysol down the stalls, and because it would stink, I was like, it's going to start stinking out here, we have to take care of it. Not 2 minutes later, a woman walks up to the counter and goes, I'm sorry, I left my clothes in the dressing room to go and get a different size. Somebody must have grabbed them. Could I get those back? I stared at her for a full long 3 seconds, and I went, I'm sorry. I had put them under the counter. I had to pull that woman's clothes out of the trash can.
Oh my God.
They now smelled like Lysol because I sprayed inside the bag.
Yes.
And hand her clothes.
I
did not mention the Lysol. No. Just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that. Blah, 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 blah. And I had just been saying, there was still a woman at the counter that had heard me say, I had to hold my nose when I went in there. Retail is difficult,
it's disgusting.
Man.
Yes.
The things that people will do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty raunchy.
Yeah.
I really, really applaud anyone in retail that is kind. I know just what was it last week? I was bitching about a cashier lady not being kind to me, and now I'm going, you know what, Dana? Calm down. Calm down, Dana. It's fine. That she probably had to clean up dog poop or people poop earlier, so leave her alone.
Okay.
But I do wish that restaurants and grocery stores could find a way to...
Well, this is the thing, though, and so I want to... I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't want there to be a misconception. I think a lot of places do. Like, I have a friend that goes and picks up from Bristol Farms, like, a couple of times a month, because they donate all their stuff, and she drives it to a shelter. Like, that's her part of volunteering. She picks up the stuff from Bristol Farms. It's like a lovely, fancy gourmet chain out here. I don't shop there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But they give all of these products and all kinds of fresh produce and salads and great things. But I understand at the grocery, like, if someone comes back with meat any kind, they can't resell it.
That's why these dum-dums shouldn't be bringing it back. And like the listener said, give it to a friend or, hello, freeze it.
Exactly. Instead of not only they've lost the money on it and it's going in the trash.
Wasteful.
We're
so lucky to have the food that we do. There are countries where they don't have enough to feed their people.
Exactly.
And then we're like, I guess my grapes went rotten because I didn't eat them within 3 weeks.
I'm going to take them back.
Take them back. That's not, it's so insane to me.
It's so gross.
When I have produce that's starting to get bad, I don't buy organic even though I should, but it goes bad so quickly, and I don't like eating fruits and vegetables, so it takes me a while. But I will put them into a smoothie. I'll just be like, oh, this is about ready to go bad. Yep. I'm just going to shoot it.
Chug your minerals.
Yeah, but that listener's right, though. Like, don't take that stuff back, you dum-dums. I know it's not nice to call people dumb, but that takes some nerve.
Sometimes it's fitting. What's your rave about today,
My
lady?
rant, you mean?
I'm sorry, yes, your rant.
This is also from a listener. I love that we picked listener ones. We're getting a lot more listener stuff, and that's what we really, really love.
Absolutely.
That's why we want you guys to write into us and do things like that. Okay, so this person's rant has to do with texting, and I feel like this could get you and I both riled up as well. This person says that one of her rants is people who respond to texts or emails with, and she put in quotes, a lowercase k.
No.
Why not tell me to fuck off instead, she said.
Oh my
It's
God.
essentially the same thing. I don't think she's wrong. I have actually straight up gotten into fights with Dan Tipton for small case K-ing me. I cannot handle it.
Also, some people do a double K and it's a big K, little K. It's like KK. I'm like, oh, are you trying to tell me to calm down? I'm asking you like a paragraph of questions
and
that
you're
I need
just
to
gonna
know.
KK me?
KK.
No. It's so rude. Also, the thing I think about lowercase k, you actually had to go out of your way to make it a lowercase
Yes.
k because our phones are set up that they capitalize the first letter you type.
It's so
you
true.
literally deleted that and pressed uncapitalize just to minimize your response to me.
The hand waving
I'm
and pointing
so
is
mad.
unreal.
I'm so mad. The couch is like squeaking. I'm jumping up and down.
Hilarious.
Don't go out of your way to minimalize and lowercase k me.
Yes, but also it's so rude. There's a difference if you were to be like, hey, can you meet me at 10? And I just write yes.
Yeah.
That may not require any other response, right?
Right, sure.
It's not being short. But if you ask me multiple things or you said something, again, that's not just a yes or no question, anything of interest and the reply is just K, I can't.
Or especially if you're saying, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late. I'll be there as quick as I can. So sorry, this happened, whatever. K. Oh, you're aggravated. I get it. You didn't have the finger strength. You were so exasperated by me that your finger couldn't press an extra letter. And by that letter, I mean O. I exhausted you that much.
For real. It's not something that needs to be shortened.
No.
Or abbreviated.
Okay is abbreviated. I didn't ask for OKAY. I'll even accept an emoticon thumbs up.
Exactly.
Don't you K me. She's not wrong. You might as well say fuck you.
Yes.
It is lowercase k is now the new fuck you.
How about if somebody just replies TY? I didn't know what that was for
What's
so
that
long.
mean?
Thank you.
Oh, TY. I thought you said T-bye. I was like, what is that? Somebody really doesn't like you. Yeah, no, that's unacceptable. The only way I am willing to accept abbreves is if it's making fun of abbreves.
You just said abbreves.
It's gross, isn't it?
You don't let me say A's and C's
No,
when I talk about
I don't
arts and
like it.
crafts, but you just said
I only
abbreves.
but I was saying it to make a point. So if you're like talking to your friends and you're like, totes, then it's like, oh, we're being funny.
Okay.
And that's fine with me. But don't abbreves in normal conversation to me. And you know what else? I told you I'm like a fucking racehorse right now with this. You know what else bugs me about texting? I know everybody's got their own styles. I really do. If you are a person that has that thing that tells me, it notifies me when you have read my text and then you do not respond for days, you are my mortal enemy. You chose to let me know you saw what I gave you and to subconsciously say, I will not answer until I decide. I can't with you. I don't have time for you. Fast forward. Move on.
You looked like a Martian. Oh my God.
I'm mad about it. Also, and I know my writing partner gets on to me for this because he's like, Dana, literally when someone texts you, you immediately respond unless you're in the hospital or something, you know, or you're working or whatever. And I understand that with other people. Like you say to me sometimes, sadly for you, I text you, message you, DM you, email you
No, I love
75 times a day. And it's usually like, look at this cute picture of a dolphin. And you respond to me, or also I know your schedule a little bit. I'm like, she hasn't been able to go hide in the bathroom yet.
Okay.
She's at work. She's busy. She will get back to me when she can. Perfectly acceptable.
Totally.
But if I tell you happy birthday and send it with one of those exploding slams and confetti, and I saw you read it and you didn't tell me thank you for 2 days, next year you ain't getting it. I have been text wronged.
There is so much animation going on right now. No, seriously, it's so rude. But like I said, in my case, now I'm going to be like defending myself. Sometimes I have a bad habit of just reading it while I'm at work, but I will then later on go back.
I know, I shouldn't be so judgy.
No. Because trust me, sometimes I legit forget, or sometimes I'm like, fuck, I just can't answer this right now. But there's times, and I'm sorry, I know people that don't really work, or they work, but they ain't at a job every day. Okay.
Right.
So I'm like, you read that within the last 8 hours. Okay. I know you did.
Yeah, it's everybody's got their own style. I get it. And then also there is a difference between Android and Apple sometimes.
Yeah, major.
So for example.
And by the way, I can't ever see shit. It sometimes says sent, sometimes it says delivered. But even if it says delivered, people have not gotten, like I'll be with them and they're like, I swear to God that didn't come through.
Yeah, and also you will totally be able to relate to this because you're Android and I'm Apple. So my parents are Android and my sister, one of my sisters is Android and me and my other sister are Apple. We're a family divided. It's a civil war. But, you know, on Apple phones, we have the ability to pull up that little menu where we can thumbs up something or haha it or exclamation. But the way it comes through to an Android is it says, Dana, ha-has.
Yes.
This comment.
And it repeats
it. Yeah. Loving this. And so for the longest time, my dad, he finally said to one of my sisters, well, I don't know what's going on with your sister. I'm not understanding any of her texts. It comes through things like Dana hearts the time we went to the store. I don't know what that means. And my sister had to explain to him, no, she has a button she can push that is a heart. It means she loves it, but it spells it out for you. And so he just thought I was losing my mind.
I want to know which one this means because I've gotten it from you a few times and I've cried laughing because I started figuring that out because it would say like Dana likes and it repeats the comment or whatever. But I got Dana emphasized.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what is the emphasized emoji? Like, what is it? I was very perplexed.
It's two very excited, bubbly exclamation marks.
Oh.
It means, oh. But I guess how do you spell out, whoa?
And I actually think it was to a picture. It said Dana emphasized an image. I'm like, what image? I hate that. I'm so mad that Droid cannot do that back. Because also sometimes the like is all the acknowledgement you need. Something you have to like everything, but you could tell me something and I could be like, great, like the fact that you just told me the time we're meeting tomorrow or whatever.
And it prevents lowercase k-dom. It really does.
K-dom.
It really does. It prevents it. But my parents also, they're not of the texting generation, but they're much better at it than maybe a lot of people. But the thing they do that bugs me is I don't live near them. So I'm constantly sending them pictures of myself and my son and my family or things I've done or little. And it's radio silence. So at one point I said to my sisters, I was like, I keep sending mom and dad all this stuff and they never respond to it. I think it's annoying them. And they started laughing, both of them. They were like, are you kidding? They love it. They show us all the pictures. They like, and I was like, but why can't they just say? How am I supposed to know? They didn't emphasize. Ooh, texting, it can cause some trauma.
It's true. I'm also so used to my dad replying to it that if he doesn't, then I'm really upset. I'm like, did you not get those pictures? He's like, I did. I'm like, then why didn't you say anything? Because he usually does give me a breakdown.
I told Jessica this earlier. I think your dad will listen.
Think?
I made a business decision based on pleasing your dad. Because I love how much he loves what you're doing.
He loves the podcast.
So he usually listens to it right away.
He does.
And when you come here, because we release and record on the same day, you tell me like, oh, here's some notes we got, here's some things, here's what my dad said, whatever. And I enjoy that. And so I actually went into our Podbean app and changed the time so that it now posts while you and I are sleeping. I post our episode at 3 a.m. all over the world time. Probably his time, if I'm being honest. So that he will have time to listen and make notes for you before we wake up.
It's amazing. I know my dad will be very pleased. No, I love it.
It makes me sound like a crazy person, but I just love it.
Do you want to hear a few things that Mark wrote in very quickly?
Absolutely.
This is just from today, so it's very apropos, but it's to the episode that was released today, which is episode 15.
Okay.
This is just the random thoughts of my dad. Excuse me.
Love it, because you say that, and now I do too. So your father is influencing us. Go ahead.
Scansions with 5 question marks. When I was at, and he named the company he used to be at, everyone wore jawbones. Not me! Double exclamation point.
Good for him.
That was in reference to Dana leaving her jawbone on.
When I auditioned for Desperate Housewives with a jawbone in my head.
Tell Dana to take off her earbuds at Target.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. But I will say, can I just tell your dad? I pulled my left one out and only listen with my right so I can still be a part of the world.
Dad, you'll have to let us know if that suffices for
okay?
you. Oh, here's another one. He loves to, my dad grew up in Montreal, so he helped us out here. The word for calm in French is tranquille.
Mm-hmm. And why did he tell us that?
Because we were imitating Taylor Swift saying that she was calm, but trying to say it in
her
French.
Video.
Oh my God. It's so funny. Thank you, Dad. We love
I love it.
Episode breakdown. We love it.
I love it so much. I always say, if you know my parents, because I know that my parents have friends that listen, and I really appreciate the support, but I do tell my parents, please don't listen. You will be offended by some of the topics, because like earlier I said a man came on his wife's bra and she tried to return it. That would be unacceptable to them for me to say come. And then I also curse, and my parents, neither one of them curse ever, and they hate it.
Yeah, my dad doesn't curse.
Yeah, and my dad thinks it's a sign of low intelligence. And so I'm like,
I wish you hadn't just said that. My dad's going to pull that one out on me a lot.
I'm sorry. That's just my dad's feeling. He's like, I really would have enjoyed the 40-year-old virgin a lot more if they didn't have to curse so much. It just makes them sound stupid. That's what he said. And listen, he's not wrong, but I don't know. Our generation, it's just like common vernacular to us. Yeah. And then I married Dan Tipton, and we've discussed he has a sailor mouth. So, and now I'm having to be careful around my child because he's old enough. So I've a couple of times this weekend had to say, oh, that is a bad word. Do not say that. It's just horrible. It's horrible. So I tell my parents, out of respect for you, please don't listen to your daughter's podcast.
Oh.
So I kind of feel like I get to enjoy your dad listening to it.
Yes.
I like
you
it.
Absolutely do. He loves it. And again, he always has notes and things to say for you, too.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, should we move into our corners?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is going to be a long episode. Buckle in, guys, because we're already way up there in the minutes and we're only at corners. It's my fault. I'm sorry. The first corner, I'm going to start, if that's okay.
Do it.
Is, oh, my bad, which we've done before. And actually a listener wrote in, it was a rant. And I had to put it in the oh, my bad corner because I do it.
Oh.
Like, I have to take responsibility and ownership for my own poor behavior. So I'm going to, and it's difficult. I'm swallowing my pride because I know it's ugly. Okay, this listener said, a rant. Line whiners. The people in line who try to get you to complain or be annoyed with them. The people who try to get everyone to be negative with them in line instead of taking the opportunity to have a positive interaction with the person in front of or behind you. Now, I have been guilty of a lot of eye bulging. And head shaking at people in front of or behind me, whether it be about another customer or the cashier.
Yep.
And I say to myself, no, we're sharing a moment. But she's right. What I'm doing is going, be angry with me.
Yes, you're looking for someone to validate how outraged you are.
Yes, it's not good. It's really not good. And I don't do it every time because sometimes I am ballsy enough to just be a bitch on my own. But there are often times that I'm like, no, come on, let's lock arms. Let's really, let's become a force to be reckoned with.
I think it depends on the mood, right? Because sometimes I'm the line whiner. There's no question.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, is there not another cashier here?
I do that too.
Okay.
I'll say, do you think there's a reason why they only have 2 lanes open when there are 75 of us?
Uh-huh. But don't you agree it's a mood thing? Like if I'm already in a bad mood or I'm mad about something or I'm running late, I'm amped at a different level and then I get annoyed. But if I'm in a good mood and I'm not in a rush and I'm like, oh, for the first time all day, I can take a peek at my phone. I'm just standing in line. I've got nowhere to be at any time.
Right.
If somebody acts like how I just said I was, I am so turned off and angry.
Yeah, like don't spoon feed me your negativity.
Right? And I'm like, oh yeah, like we're not all waiting.
Yeah.
I get
Where do you have to be? I know.
I get really annoyed with them.
Me too. That's why I put it in oh my bad corner because we're bad.
Yeah, a lot of the time, I don't know if you're like this, I just do the passive aggressive. Like I can't even imitate huffing and puffing.
Oh, you know me. I'm a sound and movement girl. I mean, there's feet shifting, there's
leg slapping,
there's sighing, there's bulged eyes, there's jutted jaw.
Yes.
Jutted jaw, Dana is mad and about to burst. There's the low key under your breath. Unbelievable. There's so many different ways for me to be horrible. I love that so much,
but no one ever hears that except you.
Yeah, no, of course not. And they go,
so funny.
What's wrong with that woman's face? Why does she keep making faces and breathing so hard? Should someone call an ambulance? Where's her caretaker?
Oh.
So I had to put it in the mic. I had to take responsibility and be like, no, I'm that asshole sometimes.
Totally.
I mean, I'm that bad person sometimes. I'm going to correct my language.
Also, I just said totally and concurred that you said that, and I don't mean totally. You're not an asshole. And another correction, which has come from my dad, and I've heard myself say it 4 times so far today. It's probably been 40. My dad informed me that I say totally too much.
Oh, really?
And my granny always told me that, so I laughed when he said that.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. I say, and like. Yeah. I mean, that's why it takes me so long to edit our podcasts, because I'm pulling out.
We're adding so many things.
Pulling out repeats of sentences. Like, I'll start, like, let me read. If I were going to say, how was your week? This is what it sounds like before I edit it. Hey, how was your week? Before I actually get to the sentence, our episodes would be 24 hours long if I did not take out all of that mouth chatter that happens before meaning.
And I apologize to you and to our listeners.
It's ridiculous. We both have our things. You have the longest S's I've ever.
I know.
Do you know that I shorten your S's?
Yes, you are. We already discussed that I was the hissing snake from Robin Hood.
But you know what, Jessica? We are special in God's eyes.
She was just raising her hands up
in the air
like a 70s poster. For like,
we are special in God's eyes. If that were an image, God. I would emphasize it.
That's so good.
Did you have a corner, right?
Yeah, we've got a little corrections corner. I think we know who the correction is
coming from.
Aimed to. Yeah, they're both for me. That should come as no shock.
Believe me, I need lots of corrections.
This I love. This came from one of my oldest, dearest friends in the world, and her sister texted her this, and she shared it with me. How come Jessica knows so much useless facts?
I mean.
And the next time you talk to her, the Camp High Harbor song is the hub in the center of the wheel, not hole.
The hole. When you texted me that, Dan Tipton and I were crying laughing because I was like, I knew God wasn't a hole.
Do you remember, folks, to give you a brief refresher? You're my rock, my sword, my shield. You're the hole in the middle of the wheel.
No!
It's supposed to be, you're the hub in the middle of the wheel.
Yes. It didn't sound right, but you delivered it confidently.
I'm sorry. She said, nonetheless, I cracked up and almost peed my pants.
This next one is the one that absolutely shatters me. It's so funny.
So this is from a listener, and thank you for writing into us again. We think you're awesome. She sent in some stuff to us when we were talking about Girl Scouts. She said, I just wanted to send a little corrections corner to Jessica. First of all, I love that you named it that. I think we manifested it. We knew it was going to happen, but thank you. I want to send a little corrections corner to Jessica. In the Catholic Church, the classes are called CCD, not CDC. The CDC stands for Center of Disease Control.
And I should have known that too because of how many horror movies I watch. Neither one of us caught it.
No.
And we don't just say it. We also both have to listen to it twice while we edit.
Yes.
And neither one of us caught it.
I am telling you, I sort of thought it as I listened. And then afterwards, I'm like, why would I think that? But it's so funny that she sent it in. She said CCD stands for Confraternity of Christian Doctrine. I had to actually look that up after what it meant, even after a million years of it as a child.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yep.
But I'm not Catholic, so it makes sense.
It's so funny. Oh, she also went on to say, so she said, I love you two so much. I tell everyone about your podcast.
Thank you.
I know. You're awesome. I'm not going to say anyone's name because, again, we're keeping people private. But thank you. You'll know who you are. I work second into third shift, getting out at 3 a.m. by myself, which is a good thing. because I must look like a lunatic laughing hysterically to myself, though security must watch me and wonder what's wrong with me. Also, when not listening to your podcast or My Favorite Murder,
yes,
I'm right there with Dana listening to all of the scary podcasts that she mentioned in last week's episode. Yep, working alone in a haunted 150-ish-year-old building at 3 a.m.
What?
Listening to things such as Haunted Hill or a murder podcast.
Yes.
I also recommend, on a personal side note, listening to The Dollop in your free time.
Oh, that's one of my faves.
Yes, and you've mentioned it on here before.
We both know Gareth Reynolds very well, and I just adore him.
Yep.
Love it.
And then she said, it's a hilarious history podcast. Also, This Podcast Will Kill You, which is about infectious diseases throughout history.
Shut up.
Well, that's right up Dana's alley, and you just added a new one to her list.
How do I not know about it?
I don't know.
Will you send me that in a text?
Of course.
And then I'll heart it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll know that you got it.
What if I just don't respond? If I didn't respond to you, you would think I was dead.
I would.
Because I respond to everything as soon as I can.
Yes.
It's a problem I have. Because I have to get it off my plate because it feels like a burden of like, they're expecting to hear from me and I haven't done it yet.
Yes.
So I have to just do it.
Of course.
I think it's out of respect. That's my intent.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just anal and weird. I don't know. All right. Well, we're going to keep corners short this week.
That's
going over. And I want us to have time for our raves.
Let's do it.
So, Jessica, you're first on raves. I'm super excited about this. I have things to say. Go ahead.
Okay. This makes me so happy. And Dana and I have talked about this show before and some of the characters that have been introduced over, later years from when we were children. But Sesame Street, I mean, everyone grew up with Sesame Street, right? Still around, which I think is so freaking fantastic.
I wish it wasn't just on HBO. I wish it was available.
Is that what it's on these days?
The last time I checked, yeah.
Because it was public when we were kids,
exactly.
Right? If you got basic TV, you got Sesame Street.
Right. So we couldn't afford to have cable, so I never got to watch Pinwheel, which everyone was really into.
Yes, on Nickelodeon.
Exactly.
Pinwheel spinning around. Look in my pinwheel and see what I found.
You look extremely adorable doing that, but it just feels like salt in a wound. I just said I was so poor I couldn't watch it, and then you celebrated the theme song.
Oh my God. I'm going to post it with a picture of Ebenezer, the green little goblin man.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just said I never saw it.
I'm so sorry that I got taken over by the theme song of Pinwheel. I'm really sad that you didn't get to see Pinwheel.
Well, that's how I feel about kids nowadays. I'm really sad. If that's still the case, maybe they changed it.
I did not know that.
But there was a big hullabaloo about it for a while.
Oh, man.
They're not on public TV anymore. They're not on PBS. They're on HBO.
Because Sesame Street and when we were kids, I know this isn't on anymore. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Electric Company.
Oh, yeah.
That show legit taught me how to start reading when I was 5. I'm not kidding.
That's where I fell in love with Spider-Man. Lifelong.
It is?
Yeah, lifelong love affair.
From Electric Company?
Yeah.
Is that where he...
Morgan Freeman was Spider-Man.
What?
How do you not know this?
What do you mean he was Spider-Man?
He was in the Spider-Man suit. He was Spider-Man.
Really?
That was one of his early jobs.
I had no idea. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And now you have his bee sanctuary to love.
I love it.
I do too. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm digressing about
it's my fault.
Sesame Street, folks. But Sesame Street welcomes a Muppet in foster care, the latest addition to its inclusive cast.
Aww.
There's a new face on Sesame Street. Sesame Workshop, the nonprofit behind the show, has welcomed Karli, that's Karli, a Muppet in foster care, as well as her for now parents, Dahlia and Clem. All 3 Muppets appear in videos posted online as part of an initiative to provide free resources to caregivers navigating difficult issues, such as family homelessness, foster care, and trauma.
Wow.
We want foster parents and providers to hear what they do matters. They have the enormous job of building and rebuilding family structures and children's sense of safety. Jeanette Betancourt, Senior Vice President of Social Impact at Disney Workshop, said, by giving the adults in children's lives the tools they need with the help from Sesame Street, we can help both grown-ups and children feel seen and heard and give them a sense of hope for the future.
I love that.
It's really cute. It says Karli, a green Muppet with fluffy pigtails, is introduced in an online-only clip called On Your Team.
Oh, it's online, so that's accessible to everybody. I love that.
It's so cute.
I can't even begin to say that I understand what children in the foster care system or adopted or anything go through, what their experiences are like. I literally would have no idea, but I do know it cannot be easy.
No.
I can't imagine all of the emotional things that come along with it. They're not always placed in safe homes.
No.
It's just heartbreaking. And the fact that Sesame Street took the time to create a character that's definitely a niche.
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for? A niche. Anyway, I love that somebody could have said there aren't enough people that could relate to this puppet. It doesn't speak to enough people. But the people it speaks to, they need it.
It's major.
It's major. And then it also teaches other children who don't have experience with that and don't understand it. Hey, my friend might be having a hard time, or this is what my friend's experiences are like, and I want to support them. And, I don't know. I just think it's really beautiful.
It is beautiful. I have some friends back home that they ended up adopting a child that they fostered, and it's amazing. And
it's incredible.
They have 4 children, 3 that they had biologically, and this child that they adopted, and it's incredible. She was a nurse. I think that's how he actually came into their lives. I feel like maybe she
really
knew about him while at the hospital.
You have to be brave and strong to go through that.
Yeah.
Because we have personal friends that have done that. And there are many times during that process where they may lose the children.
Yes.
And those children are theirs.
I know. I know.
They're their babies.
And they love them, and they are providing for them and giving them a life they would have never had. It really is.
The emotional journey that these families go through just to love and care for a baby.
Yeah. Do you ever see it? I cry every time that I see it. I don't remember which of our news stations it's on, but it's like on local news, the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock news, whatever.
Yeah, it's like a Wednesday's Child. Yes.
And we were watching it once, and I was watching it with Alan, and I was crying, and I'm like, I wish we could adopt both of those kids right now. It was a brother and sister.
Oftentimes they're older children because everybody wants a puppy, but nobody wants a teenager.
I think they were like 6 and 8.
Yeah.
And my heart was just like ripped open. I'm like, oh my God. It's a lot, and a lot of kids also get bounced between houses and all that. So again, and Sesame Street has a Muppet now also that is autistic. All of these other things, again, of educating people. It's not, again, it's so important for kids that maybe are in foster care and or the parents. But we've talked about this. Important for everyone else to be educated and have an idea.
Have some
and for
perspective of where they're coming from.
Your kid might be in class with a kid that's in foster care or has a guardian right now because there's not a parent for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I love that. Again, bringing light to something that, yes, we all know about and it's there, but it's pretty freaking monumental for something like Sesame Street to
absolutely and
roll out something
I feel like
that.
What things like this are doing, and there are a lot of different things we get to talk about on our show that are doing this. It's breaking down the barriers of normalcy. Yeah. What we all have said or been told for so long is normal should not matter.
Right.
It just doesn't matter.
Yep.
We have to accept people as who they are and where they come from.
Absolutely.
And we need to be kind about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know someone else's story.
Right.
You may know their situation, and if it's not normal, then you just ignore it.
Right.
Well, don't ignore it. We need to open up these. It's like neurodiversity, having this Muppet in foster care, all of these things. That's normal for the people who are living it.
Yes.
Who are we to say that that's not normal society? Stop saying that.
Well, you know what? A lot of schools have adopted this now. The notion of instead of it being like Mom's Day or Bring Dad to School Day, they have Special Persons Day.
Oh, I like that.
And you know how there's always going to be people who are like, well, when we were growing up, we had Mom's Day or we had Dad and all that, or they think it's being too PC. No, I've talked to people that are teachers all over the country. They have children in the class where one or both parents were killed. Like the parents were killed in a car accident. Doesn't matter. One or both parents are gone, or this happened, or they were adopted, whatever. The aunt is the caregiver, the grandmother, the grandfather, whoever. So Special Persons Day is a day to bring whoever that is in their life that's hopefully caring and guarding them. So I love it.
It's not about being PC or appropriate.
No.
It's about inclusivity.
Yes.
And making everyone feel accepted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
I do too.
Is it time for me to move on to my
It is.
So my rave comes from an experience, a person I met at VisionCon. So to lead into the story about her company and what she does, I met these 3 women who are amazing. And actually I told Jessica they have a t-shirt company. So when we get to where we need merch, I'm gonna be ordering from them.
Heck yeah.
So anyway, I had such a great connection with these 3 women. And one of the women, my dad even said, boy, they were real lovely, but that one on the end, she's pretty quiet, huh? The other 2, they were hooting and hollering, and she's pretty quiet. So I said, cute. Yeah, I noticed that. I said, dynamics and friends. There's always, what do they say? I didn't say this to my dad, but there's always like a smart one, a funny one, and a dumb one, or a slut. Like there's a, what? You've never heard that?
Yeah, it sounds like you just described the Golden Girls.
I mean, basically. So anyway, the last day of VisionCon, one of the girls came up to my table with her 14-year-old daughter. I think she was 14, maybe 12. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm getting into detail. But she had a gift for me, and she said, my friend that was here wanted to give this to you. She has a candle company, and each of the candles have a specific saying on it, and she chose this one specifically for you. But we've been trying to get her to come over and give it to you, and she's very nervous. She's pretty quiet and shy, and she's been through some trauma in the last few years. She lost her life partner, and it's been devastating. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to you. She wants you to have it. It is this beautiful candle that smells like something I just want to roll in and eat, because rolling and eating are the same thing to me. I want to roll in everything I want to put in my mouth. So, and it has a cedar wick. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen the wood wicks.
Yeah, wood, I guess. Yeah. I had never seen that before. Do I live under a rock?
No, because only a few companies use that, but it also makes a nice little crackling sound.
Yes, it sounds like I have a fireplace.
I like it,
it's lovely, lovely, lovely. So anyway, I was just touched and I cried. She told me her bit of her story pretty vaguely, for her privacy, but whatever. So I am a crazy person, and I took a picture of myself holding that candle and I sent it to her on Facebook.
That's so awesome.
And basically was like, no, hello, you're in my life now. Thank you. And she has this candle company. It is called Fire and Soul. She has an Etsy store. You can find her. We'll put a link to it. And what is so special about it, first of all, they're beautiful candles. They smell amazing. Each one has a different saying. Let me read a couple of them here just because I have them up. You're the reason my soul knows home. Aww. Mine says, I hope there are flowers everywhere you are. Like, just very, very lovely things. So anyway, I'm going to read what she has written on her site so that I can kind of share her story without getting too personal. This is public. So it's called Fire and Soul Candle Company, spreading the light one candle at a time. Our story is flamed from the loss of a loved one to suicide. Sadly, we lost Stevie Ann Lane on October 2015. She received her bachelor's degree in outdoor recreation and was always caught enjoying something that included sunshine on her face. For the next few years, she worked for Special Olympics and made helping others her way of life. Myself, Katie, who is the woman I met, being her partner for 8 years, this came as a total shock and the biggest heartbreak I've ever lived through. We were 27 at the time. Unfortunately, most of us probably know of someone who has suffered from the loss of suicide, even attempted suicide themselves, or maybe we are now thinking of those angels that we did lose forever to this heartbreaking disease. Having attempted suicide myself after the loss of Stevie, I know that a heartbreaking disease is my definition for suicide. Over 1 million people a year attempt suicide, and over 100 people die daily. For me, my personal struggles have become every reason for telling those 100 plus people a day, you are worth it, all caps. My God, you are worth it. I'm going to cry. I ordered a typewriter after she passed away, and I started writing the hell out of it. I had started drinking heavily, which later led me into more and more trouble, but I kept writing through the next couple of years. Sometimes it was what I would say to Stevie, and sometimes it was what I was trying to somehow tell myself. It was almost as if I was a different person behind the typewriter. I combined them all and made a book by hand titled Shadows of You. These candles represent some of the words I have written in that book. I hope finding the light in my own darkness, I can remind others of theirs. So anyway, she was just such a bright light, and she shared with me a little bit more detailed about her story, and it's devastating. Yeah. It's just devastating to lose someone you love. Is always hard. Yeah. But when her partner took her own life, and she's, she talked a little bit about blaming herself for that for so long. And literally, it's not her fault.
Right.
But how do you not feel that way? And there were other things that happened as she was dealing with this loss. Like she mentioned, she began drinking heavily, and she was in a car accident. Like it just was, she was like,
right.
what is it? Job from the Bible that just keeps getting tested. You know, it's like,
totally.
Come on, can the world just ease up on her for a second and let her get her bearings again? You know, it's just heartbreaking.
Much.
But the fact that she bought this typewriter and found a way to take her pain and switch it up to help others so they don't get to that point. It just, my heart was tingling and I was bawling. I told you I cried so many times. And so I just sent her this weird ass picture of myself holding her candle because it meant so much to me.
No, it's really cool that you
amazing.
got to meet someone like that.
I mean, she was inspiring. I don't think she knows how inspiring that was to me and everyone else around that heard, and everyone that I tell the story to every time I bring that candle out, because I burn it constantly. It's lasting forever. So anyway, I just, I don't know if she listens to podcasts. I did let her know I was going to shout out her company. So if you're listening, thank you for what you're doing, because not only is it making my house smell good, but it warms my heart every time I light it.
Right.
So anyway, I don't want to cry anymore.
No, totally.
It's really beautiful.
Well, we're constantly amazed at people managing to do something to uplift others through their pain and their own experience.
I don't know how people are strong enough to do that.
I know.
I really don't. But
it's so worthwhile for them and all that they touch to...
I think her having this company is healing for her too, Mm-hmm. I hope. That's my hope.
Yep. If you can come out of the other side of that never goes away.
Right.
But if you can find a purpose, and it's, she's honoring her partner by doing that. To me, that's also a way, or just like when a foundation is set up in someone's name, when they've passed, you are honoring them and their memory by...
Every time she makes a candle. Yeah. Every time.
Yeah.
That's really special.
It is. What is the name of her company again?
It's called Fire and Soul.
Fire and Soul.
And just to shout out her partner again, her partner's name was Stevie. Yeah. So wherever you are, Stevie, you're loved.
Yes.
Aww. Jessica.
Dana.
I think that's our show.
I think it is. That was a doozer.
It was a doozer. It's also 6 hours and 42 seconds long. I'll edit it down. But we haven't seen each other for so long.
I know.
And Lord, once my tongue gets flapping, it's hard to stop.
Same.
I just love you to pieces.
I love you. This was very cathartic.
It really was.
Needed to happen.
It was. And just so you guys know, I've had some difficult things going on in my life. Jessica's a real great hugger.
Aww.
I needed that hug today.
Good.
So I could come in here and scream about how texting annoys me. Okay, so usually we go out with either a point to ponder or some good news thing that you need to go check out. I always bring up cats with their mouths open on Instagram. I can't stop. I really can't. I send one of those pictures to someone every day. It's crazy town. But today what I want to go out with is I actually follow another account on Instagram called the Be Happy Project. And there's all kinds of motivational and inspiring comments and stuff. This person is a motivational speaker, but I just love that account. And I love that those things, I've told you before, I screenshot those things because I'm convinced I'm going to make a book of like
your favorites.
Yeah, my favorite, here, be happy, Dana. Quotes. But this one was really important to me and it was necessary for some other people in my life. It just came up at the right time. So I want to share that with you before we go. When we're done with this, Jessica and I are going to shut up and we're done. Okay? Okay, it says, let whatever you do today be enough. Let go of the judgment you have about what you should be or could be doing. And today, allow yourself to just be. Daniel Kopke. Kopke? Well, I screwed that up. Anyway, guys, we want you to love yourself and be okay to just be wherever you are.
Yes.
And if you need to yell about texting or cry or sneeze in the microphone, do it. All right, guys, we'll be back here, same time, same place next week, 3 a.m. Mr. Young. Bye.
Bye.